everyone, my name is Mackenzie. I am a person of transgender experience, and sometimes, on a rare occasion, life tends to help me learn a little bit more about myself in unexpected ways. In a previous video, I talked about how I struggled to get into a good mindset to go on a date with someone I met on a dating app. I left it on a bit of a cliffhanger, but in the end, it happened. Was I overthinking it? Absolutely. It actually went as well as could be expected for a first date. Well enough that we actually went on a second date. Shocking, I know. But that's where it ended. I tried to reach out over the holidays, but sadly, no response. Am I sad things didn't turn out? Yeah, a little. They were really cute. But I guess it just wasn't meant to be. At least I tried, and I had a nice time. I got to have multiple conversations with a really interesting person, and I even filled a social need that I didn't realize I had been craving. The best part is that it helped break me out of the mindset that I thought I wasn't ready for another relationship. Going on one date is not a lifelong commitment. It's just one date. My logical brain was trying to tell me this from the very beginning, but my emotional brain seemed to want to open up the floodgates on all of the cortisol for no reason. Now, a little bit of stress is not really a bad thing. And in this case, it helped push me out of my comfort zone and reaffirm a small semblance of confidence in myself that I didn't realize I was lacking. Since then, I have started dating again, and I've seen a few people, most of which have been good. So, neat. Unfortunately, this is where I'm going to separate the happy parts from the more recent events. Most recently, I went on a date with a guy who wanted to go bar hopping to kind of show me around the area. Side note, it was a Sunday evening. Seriously, who goes bar hopping on a Sunday? That should have been my first red flag. Well, shortly after we arrived at our first destination, I wanted to clarify that he knew that I am trans. I like to clear the air early on. This is my personal preference that just makes me feel comfortable. For other trans folks out there that are going out to meet new people, there is no one particular correct time to tell someone. It's entirely up to you if you feel the time is appropriate. Just make sure that whenever you do, that you are in a place where you feel safe. Now, back to the story. In short, he did not know, which tells me that he obviously didn't read my profile, since I always make sure that it is in the very first line of my bio. It caught him off guard, but to his credit, he didn't freak out. He got quiet for a moment, took a second to process, but then we eventually continued talking. Seeing as I'm an open book about my transition, I gave him ample opportunity to ask questions since I could see his mind was racing. I laid everything out as plainly as I could. I even told him that we could end the night then and there if he wasn't interested. No hurt feelings. But he wanted to keep going. Okay. Fast forward, and it was not a great night. He grew increasingly aloof and started making small talk with some other people that he recognized from the area, and he wouldn't include me in any of the conversations, let alone even introduce me. At this point, I was starting to take the hint when suddenly he just asks if I wanted to go up to his apartment so we could talk. As an introvert, this sounds wonderful. Finally, a quiet place that we can talk. Now, I know what you're thinking. I know better, but I still felt safe and in control. And besides, if worse came to worse, I could probably take him. Now, I'm going to take a quick pause here for just a moment. The following content might not be suitable for younger audiences and might actually be triggering for some people. I won't be going into any explicit detail, but if any generalized sexual content or any body dysmorphia talk is something that is not quite your speed, this is your opportunity to back out right now. Okay, so we got up to his apartment, talked briefly, and discussed what the intentions were. He made it very clear that he was just really horny and was looking for a hookup. Now, here I want to establish that I am an ace-leaning, gray asexual. Basically, I am not particularly interested in sex without a strong connection with someone. And even still, I really don't base my relationships around sex, since I still don't really have a strong craving for it. But I am still human, and it does feel good to be wanted on occasion. Now, in direct contradiction to this, my love language is actually physical touch, something I have been starved of for a long time. Also, I had a few drinks, so my inhibitions were slightly lowered. One of the many reasons that I do not drink very often. So even despite some hesitation, he wanted to move forward. I gave him more opportunities to back out. I would leave right then and there, no harm, no foul. He still insisted. Warning, warning, here's the dysmorphia part. Now, after some very light teasing, he asks me to take my clothes off. Not everything, just enough. I warned him that it probably wasn't something he was used to seeing, as it was very obvious he had never been in any kind of sexual encounter with anyone other than a cis straight woman. I turn away, do the thing, and I'm trying to be coy about it. I turn back around to see this man staring at me in a way that is beyond objectification. He was downright judging everything about my body. I cannot explain the level of pure shame that I felt in that moment. Whether he meant it or not, there was a look of pure disgust on his face as he sized me up. I think it was in that moment that we both realized that this was not a good idea. We immediately got dressed and he showed me out to my car. At least he had that courtesy. And that is where the night ended. No big shebang, no disaster moment, just disappointment. Like a lot of people in the trans community, I deal with body dysmorphia. And my main method of coping is my rigid exercise routine and somewhat heavily monitored eating habits. It may not be the healthiest mentality, but I use the results of this routine as a confident and proud reminder that I have put in hard work and I can at least maintain good control on at least one aspect of my life, where a lot of trans people struggle to find that control in any aspect of their life, especially when, for a lot of us, you can just looking in the mirror can send us spiraling in a series of mental chaos. Although I have learned to live with this in a balanced level of maintaining good physical health, I am still extremely insecure about my appearance. And in one instant, all of my confidence was shattered. His look said it all. In 1 second, it felt like the hours and hours of hard work that I had put into my fitness over the years were completely invalidated. The embarrassment and the shame I felt stung like nothing I had ever felt before. And by the time I had gotten home, I was drowning in it. I'd like to think that I learned some more about myself from this encounter. I never considered my love language and just how much it can influence my actions in such a strong way. After some reflection, I see now that I crave a certain level of physical connection with someone that can easily be misconstrued as sexual, when honestly, it couldn't be any further from the truth. And with the proper motivation combined with a lack of awareness, this indulgent craving had the potential to put me in a position where I could get easily emotionally or physically hurt. Lucky for me, this time was only emotional. The takeaway here is that knowing more about yourself can help you become more aware of how you'll react under certain circumstances. And this really has the potential to keep you out of harm's way. So on occasion, sit quietly with your thoughts. Take time to properly process your emotions. It may be uncomfortable, but you never know how it'll help you adapt to situations in the future. Now, I know this was kind of a long one, even leaving out a lot of detail, but I really wanted to put it out there for the people who were curious as to why I've been kind of absent from all of my social media for a little while. I am slowly rebuilding my confidence. I may be a little bruised, but I'm not defeated. If anything, this is fuel to the fire to help me do better and be better. I'm sorry this one turned into a bit of a downer, but if you've reached this point in the video, thank you so much for sticking around. If you haven't already, go ahead and check the link down below in the description. It'll take you to my other social media platforms. Any support would be absolutely lovely. Feel free to talk about some of your own experiences down in the comments. I do read all of the comments, and I try to respond to most of them. Eventually. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.